The premiere episode begins with Baek Sa-yeon, the presidential spokesperson, making a striking entrance at a party. Everyone around him watches in admiration. Shortly after, his wife, Hong Hee-ju, joins him. Nervous, Hee-ju expresses her unease, but Sa-yeon reassures her, saying all the attention is on him, not her. Together, they ascend the stairs, followed by the watchful eyes of the guests and the lenses of smartphone cameras. The scene shifts to Hee-ju and her routine as a sign language interpreter at a news studio. During her interpretation, a technical issue arises at a critical moment, but she doesn't notice and continues her work flawlessly. Soon after, the broadcast is interrupted by an urgent announcement from the presidential office. In the live address, Sa-yeon reports on a crisis involving a hostage situation. A terrorist group demands South Korea withdraw its troops and pay a ransom, threatening to execute the hostages if their demands are not met. The news deeply impacts everyone in the newsroom, especially with the explicit threat of killings. Sa-yeon emphasizes the government's stance, making it clear that they will not give in to the group's demands. However, he promises to mobilize all necessary resources to rescue the hostages. Hee-ju then meets her mother and mother-in-law for a tense lunch. Her mother-in-law insists she should quit her job and dedicate herself entirely to supporting her husband in his campaign for the presidency. During the conversation, she also brings up Hee-ju's selective mutism, asking if she plans to overcome it someday. However, she quickly retracts, commenting that perhaps staying silent is the wisest choice. After her mother-in-law leaves, Hee-ju's mother criticizes her attitude, accusing her of not doing enough to keep the man who, she claims, was taken from another woman. After the meeting, Hee-ju sits in her car under heavy rain, reflecting for a few minutes. Unsure of where to go, she finally sets the GPS and begins driving. After switching between a few stations, she stops at a program analyzing the government's official stance on the ongoing hostage situation. Suddenly, the radio begins to glitch, and Hee-ju realizes something strange is happening with her car. The steering wheel becomes unresponsive, the brakes fail, and the navigation system shuts down. Panicked, she tries to control the vehicle, which veers off its designated route before coming to an abrupt stop at a busy intersection. Terrified, Hee-ju attempts to exit the car but discovers the doors won't open. In that moment, she recalls a news report about software that allows someone to remotely take control of a vehicle. Horrified by the possibility, she continues trying to escape, but the car remains locked. Meanwhile, at Sa-yeon's office, he is meeting with his team to assess the media's reaction to his recent speech. During the discussion, Young-woo, one of his subordinates, mentions that the press has begun digging into Sa-yeon's background, highlighting details such as his FBI training and expertise in strategic negotiations, emphasizing his reputation as a specialist in the field. Meanwhile, Hee-ju faces a terrifying moment. As she drives, a truck nearly collides with her car. Amid the chaos, a mysterious man dressed in black and wearing a mask suddenly appears. He approaches the car and unlocks the doors, leaving Hee-ju even more on edge. Back at Sa-yeon's office, he receives a call from an unknown number. The person on the other end makes a direct threat. Hee-ju's life is in danger. Before Sa-yeon can react, the call is cut off as his phone's battery dies. Once his phone is recharged, Sa-yeon calls his mother to check on Hee-ju. She reassures him that Hee-ju is with her mother-in-law. Confident, Sa-yeon calls his mother-in-law to confirm. She lies, saying Hee-ju is having dinner with her and will return home later. Believing the earlier call was a prank, Sa-yeon dismisses the threat. When the unknown number calls again, he answers but brushes off the threats, firmly stating he will not pay any ransom. Angered by Sa-yeon's indifferent response, the kidnapper turns his rage toward Hee-ju, declaring that her life will only be spared if Sayan shows he truly cares. While driving, the kidnapper tries calling again, but Sayan refuses to answer. In another attempt, Young Woo, one of Sayan's co-workers, picks up the call. As the kidnapper begins speaking, Sayan responds with cold detachment, saying they should only call back once there's a body. Shortly after, Sayan is called into a last-minute meeting, leaving his phone on his desk. This causes the kidnapper's subsequent attempts to make contact to go unanswered, heightening Hee-ju's desperation. Trying to stay calm, Hee-ju takes control of the situation by steering the car off the designated route. At that moment, the car's radio comes back to life, broadcasting surprising news. Negotiations with the kidnappers have been successful, and the hostages have been released. Meanwhile, Sayan wraps up his day with a final speech. As he leaves the building, he is approached in the parking lot by reporter Hyuk-jin, who pushes for an exclusive statement. In a tense moment, Sayan drives at high speed with Hyuk-jin in the passenger seat. Sayan asks the reporter to help trace the number from the suspicious call, explaining that while he suspects it could be a hoax, he has a bad feeling about the caller's identity. After this, Sayan returns home and only relaxes when he sees Hee-ju in the kitchen. Casually, he mentions the strange call but is interrupted by an update from Do-jae regarding the number trace. Later, after dinner, Hee-ju retreats to her room and receives a call from her mother, who pressures her about marriage and the possibility of having a child. This leads Hee-ju to reflect on her relationship with Sayan. She sees herself as a stand-in wife. The marriage was originally arranged between Sayan and another woman, but Hee-ju stepped in for convenience. Sayan imposed a strict contract with 3 conditions. She cannot file for divorce, especially during the election period. She must keep her identity as his wife a secret, and any breach of the contract would result in a fine of 2 billion won. At a subsequent event, Hee-ju accompanies Sayan, serving as a sign language interpreter. During the party, the ambassador's wife mistakenly assumes Hee-ju is Sayan's wife, but Hee-ju quickly clarifies that she is only there as an interpreter. After the party, Hee-ju storms out, furious, cursing at Sayan when he refers to his wife as his weakness in a conversation with the ambassador. As she leaves, Sayan receives another call from the mysterious number. This time, the caller reveals they are at the party and no intimate details about Sayan's life. The caller threatens to kill Sayan's real wife, Hong In-ae, not Hee-ju, the stand-in wife. Hong In-ae, Hee-ju's sister, was Sayan's intended bride but fled on their wedding day. To preserve the political alliance between the two families, Hee-ju was pressured into marrying Sayan, becoming a reluctant participant in this arrangement. The twist comes when it's revealed that Hee-ju herself is posing as the kidnapper. Sayan is stunned, now visibly shaken, and demands to know what the kidnapper wants. Pretending to be the kidnapper, Hee-ju demands that Sayan abandon her and return to his real wife, arguing that he no longer needs her. After the call, it's revealed that Hee-ju had managed to take control of the kidnapper's car, causing a minor accident. She seized the kidnapper's phone while they were unconscious and fled. In their ongoing call, Hee-ju gives Sayan until the next day to make his decision. However, Sayan, regaining his composure, changes his tone, stating that if the kidnapper truly intended to blackmail him, they should have studied him better because they made a grave mistake targeting his wife. Hee-ju sarcastically recounts the ordeal she faced during her abduction the previous day. In the final moments of the episode, Sayan is visibly disturbed, hearing about the struggles Hee-ju endured, and vows to uncover the identity of the caller. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, or share it. Your interaction is really important to the channel.